So we just got ourselves a brand new structure deck that heavily implies that we're going to be getting a certain archetype in the next main box. But unfortunately, that main box is like 20 days away or something, so you might be thinking to yourself, what the f do I do with these cards until then? And for that, my friend, I've got an answer for you. So here's today's deck list. Now just a reminder before I get into this deck list, if you guys are enjoying today's video and want to see more content just like this in the future, especially if you're a returning viewer, so apparently about 35% of people watching this or even subscribed to the channel, meaning 65% of you haven't even clicked that button yet. So if you guys are enjoying this kind of content and want to see more videos from me in the future, remember to leave a like on this video and consider subscribing to the channel down below. Alright, let's jump into this deck list. Alright, so today's deck list is obviously going to be Elemental Hero, but obviously a bit of a different build to something you're probably used to, because we're of course playing the brand new card Immortal Phoenix Gearfried. So what does this card do? You can banish one equipped spell from your field or graveyard to special summon this card from your hand. At the start of the damage step, if this card attacks, you can equip one face-up monster on the field to this card as an equipped spell. This card gains 500 attack. Now keep in mind that obviously means your field or your opponent's field, so this card can suck up any of your opponent's big boss monsters as well. Alright, when a monster effect is activated, a quick effect, you can send one face-up equipped card you control to the graveyard to negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. So this card is a gigantic 3,500 attack boss monster that gets a lot stronger after I read the skill to you. The skill is called Salamandra and Phoenix, and what this skill does is basically, if you have this card in your hand, you can reveal it to then place a copy of Legendary Sword straight in the graveyard, and you do not need to run this card, it just can come from outside of your deck. On top of that, a copy of Salamandra will just be placed face down on your field, which again, you do not need to run this card, it will just be placed from outside of your deck. So this basically gives you the requirements to summon this card from hand, as you'll have the equipped spell engraved to banish, and then when summoned, it will allow you to then equip it with this Salamandra, so now it has a negate active, giving you a negate on turn 1, or just a really big boss monster with a negate to use going second. On top of that, by the way, the reason you'll notice this deck list has so many fire monsters is the skill has this really annoying requirement which forces you to play at least 10 fire warrior monsters, which can be a little bit annoying. I honestly wish it was exactly 9, as this deck list would look a lot cleaner with exactly 9, as I really don't want to run this card, but I don't really know what other fire monster to sort of include in here, as there's not that many good fire warrior monsters in the pool, other than of course Battling Box of Ale, who is actually a really decent card and is just a great hand trap, and of course we're playing Elemental Hero Blazeman because he's actually a really good card in Elemental Hero and is played in all the standard meta lists for Elemental Hero anyway, so other than that, I don't really know what other fire monster to run, but if you don't want to run this card and there's some other fire warrior monster you want to run, feel free to swap it out. I just chose to run this card because you can technically search this guy, but he's yeah, he's a bit of a dead card in the deck, I'll be honest. As for the rest of the deck list, it's all just your typical standard hero stuff, so I don't really feel like I should go through it here, as you guys probably know what all the cards in here do by now, and if you don't worry, you'll see it all during the gameplay anyway, so without further ado, let's jump into some gameplay. Alright, so as you can see, with this deck list, I had a very decent run, winning 9 out of the 10 games I played with it. Obviously though, this was done in Platinum, since I ranked up into Legend using this deck, so the players I was playing against, they weren't exactly the greatest. As you'll see from the replays, there was a ton of misplaying going on, which led to a lot of extra wins I probably shouldn't have gotten. So keep that in mind. This deck list, honestly, it's not going to be some super strong top tier meta contender or anything like that. It's mostly just a for fun deck list you can play whilst we're waiting for the new main box to come out, which will give us an actual deck to play with this card. So until then, play this deck, it's a lot of fun, it's just a neat little deck to mess around with, so yeah, let's get into some actual replays though. And it did rank me up into Legend, so if you're just looking for something to climb early season to get into Legend or just mess around with, you can certainly use this deck for that, as it's just, yeah, it's just a good all-round deck list for having fun. Alright. So first matchup I had, a lot of the matchups today were actually meta-relevant deck lists, it's just the players playing them were doing some really dumb stuff. Like I think this guy, his turn 1 board setup was a setup, I guess. I think he thought I was playing Orcus because he ended on like a Duel or pass, which is like not a strat. Alright, so my opening hand was absolutely not bad, it just didn't get to use the new card as much since I don't really want to use this guy. But I think I drew into him if I remember correctly. Yeah, you really don't want to draw this card. He does technically give your cards or give one of your monsters a 500 attack boost as a quick effect, which is something, I guess. But he's more just used for his second effect, which allows you to search if he goes to the graveyard. But that's literally a search during end phase, so yeah. Maybe someone in the comments will come up with some cool little fire warrior monster that's in the game that just works better than this guy in the deck. I know there's a Battling Boxer card that can bring this card back from the graveyards, which can maybe lead to some rank 4 plays. Maybe he's a better option. I don't know. Either way, alright, so he activates Abyss Dweller. I don't really care. I'm going to use my Blazeman, searching for Polymerization. Then we're going to fusion summon out, of course, my Sunrise. Using, of course, making sure to keep my monster on field for extra damage. Grabbing my Miracle Fusion. And thankfully, although this guy denied me the first time trying to draw cards, it didn't deny me the second time, because now this card's going to activate when banished. Of course, summoning out the Wind Monster, reducing attack, drawing 2 cards, giving my card an attack boost. I didn't actually draw into the new one. Alright. And he's dead. Alright, so not all replays were using the new card, just most of them. Apparently I recorded a couple that weren't using him. Alright. So I think this guy was also playing the new pen deck, I think. And this one definitely used the new card, if I remember correctly. But again, this guy's turn 1 board setup was not it, Chief. I don't even know what he was setting up. He set up like a level 7 and then just... that was it. Alright, so we've got 2 copies of the Big Boss Monster. Honestly, opening or drawing into a second copy of this later on isn't that bad, because a lot of the time your first Gearfried will be destroyed and your crit spell will go straight to the graveyard, and then you just summon another one. And he's pretty good when your opponent has a monster on the field, because you can obviously suck them up, so... it's not bad to have multiple copies in the deck list. Alright, we'll fast forward this guy a bit. He does a bunch of summoning that all ends on basically nothing. He had a pretty good hand too, so I think he's just bad. Yeah, ends on... why the hell would you summon this turn 1? I don't know. I thought maybe he was going to go into like that other weird rank 7 thing or something. I don't know. Ends on... like, why would you end on just this pass? Either way, whatever. Alright, so activating my skill, putting the equip spell on grave, setting the equip spell, banishing 1, summoning the boss, giving him the attack boost from the equip spell. Blazeman, searching Poly. Poly can now fusion summon out our copy of Sunrise, which actually gets chain blocked by Liquid Soldier, so my opponent couldn't even use this to negate it even if he wanted to. Drawing 2, discarding 1, 2 Miracle Fusions. Summoning out Tornado to reduce the attack. He tries to negate it, but of course we've now got our negate on field, so we can just stop that. Swing in, suck up his boss monster, and hit him in the face. Alright. So players like that are the reason this deck list had such a high win rate. Alright, third replay. Alright, this was the Blue Eyes player, who again misplayed or he would have won the game. It's not a good sign when this deck list nearly lost to a Blue Eyes deck, so... a 30 card Blue Eyes deck, by the way. Alright. So you don't generally want to go first with this deck all that often, it's just definitely better going second. But if you do go first, as long as you open this card, you're going to at least have a negate on the field, so... and of course we have Battling Boxer Veil, so if our opponent does try to lethal us, we can potentially survive it. Alright, so here I misplay by forgetting you can use this card's effect on the field to send a hero monster to grave, which would have been great, because then I could use Miracle Fusion, so slight misplay there. Swing in, he tries to use the monster effect, I try to negate it, but of course he has a negate ready for me. But that's completely fine, because now this card's used its effect, I can swing into it. So obviously the counter trap did send a stone to the grave, so he still gets out a Blue Eyes. Alright, so things get a little bit sketchy here as he then top decks into Alternative, which is a little bit sketchy, but we have got our Veil in hand, so we're not too worried. Yeah, other than Speedroid, I think there's not a single deck in in Duel Links right now that's, or at least not a popular deck, that's doing 4,000 damage or more than 4,000. So Veil is actually quite a, gets a lot more value. Though it does lose, it should auto lose to Speed Droid though, because they do 4,000 damage, and they have a negate that can negate the 4,000, no, the life point gain from Veil. So he swings in, summon Veil, getting some life points back. Miracle Fusion, summoning out Nova Master. Easiest bait of my life, because if he didn't use the Karma Cut here, this card would have done absolutely nothing, and he could have Karma Cutted my Gearfried, and I would have lost instantly. But thankfully, he's dumb, so... Banishing, summoning out Gearfried, swinging in, sucking up his boss monster, and now we have a negate on field and a big boy, and he's just like, yeah, I'm done. He knew. Alright, next up. Yeah, so that guy just used his Karma Cut later on, he wouldn't have lost, but he was a bit of a dum-dum, so... So I think this guy was playing Dark Magician. I had a couple of Dark Magician games, actually. Not sure how many I recorded, though. $28 Dark Magician for some reason. Magic Cylinder being run in his deck list. Because of course it is. Alright, using his Conjurer, searching for his magical dimension, and then I think he sets 3 and just passes. Blazeman searching for Poly. I like how this deck list doesn't even have back row removal outside of like the Stratos removal. It's just like a flat out just spam and hope your opponent hasn't got enough back row to move absolutely everything. So we're gonna get our monster removed here. Our monster removed here, but we are gonna draw 2 cards, so. Wow, what a great animation. Alright, popping our monster. 3 Miracle Fusions in hand. Alright, banishing, summoning out Sunrise, drawing a couple of cards. Getting Booker Mooned. I actually still haven't used our boss monster yet, by the way. I decided to save this guy for last, because I thought it'd be really good just to be able to have him on field to suck up this monster. Alright, sorry about the coughing. Alright, Cosmic Cycling's my equip spell. We don't really care too much though, as we can still summon this card, and we just got a new equip spell anyway. Alright. That guy got absolutely deleted. 3 more. Which includes, the last replay I know was Speedroid, and the other 2 I don't quite remember. Oh, this replay was a little bit amusing. This was a Trickstar player. 7-game win streak on his rank up, by the way. This poor guy. Alright, so Blazeman searching for Poly. Using my reinforcement to search for a Veil, because we already have the Stratos. And we're going first, so we generally want to have a Veil in hand. In fact, this Veil actually kept me alive, so... Alright, drawing 2, discarding, grabbing a Miracle Fusion. Now keep in mind, my opponent has now seen me search for a Veil, and he's seen me put one in the graveyard, so he should be very aware I have this in my hand. He should be aware of it. Alright, so he's grabbing his Light Stage, searching for his Licorice. Candina, searching a Festival. Gonna use his Festival. Summoning out a copy of Holy Angel. Not the draw one for some reason, despite having, obviously using the skill to gain life points. I don't know why you do this, he's got no back row apparently. He then activates the White Princess to reduce the attack of this card, and activates the Corobane to boost his own attack. Nearly one-shotting me. But unfortunately for him, I have a Veil in hand. And he concedes instantly. He literally saw me search for this. I don't know why he didn't go for like a standard Trickstar play or something. Draw 2 cards, hit some back row or something. I don't know what that guy was doing. Typical Platinum gamer, I guess. There are some very silly people in this game. Alright. This guy was playing Cubic. This game was incredibly close. Incredibly close. This is actually an incredibly hard deck to, like, sort of play around. Or more of an annoying deck, I guess. Alright, so turn 1, getting a hold of my Gearfried, of course. Which is pretty good, sort of, into the... can be good in this matchup, because it can suck up his little monsters. But the issue is... this trap card here. This trap card is terrifying. There's not really a whole lot you can do about it. So he Dark Holes my field, which is fine, because we can still summon another one anyway, don't really care too much. And our hand was pretty damn awful. You'll notice I didn't really... yeah, I had to use Miracle Fusion on this turn to now try to get card draw. He Compulses, which stops me doing that. There's the Ascension, grabbing out his Seed, which forces you to attack into it. Doesn't even let me use this card's effect to suck it up. And now I've got this completely dead monster on the field because I have nothing to use it for. I can't go into any links or tribute it off or anything, so it's just a dead monster on field. Alright, grabbing his Vessel, sending more stuff to the graveyard, bringing out his Seed. I can now thankfully search for a Polymerization so I can finally get my draw 2 off. There's my Sunrise. Alright, discarding this card because I can't even summon him anymore. I've gotten both my equip spells already. Getting out my Nova, which will give me a card draw. Alright, searching for his big cubic boss monster. You notice, by the way, I didn't swing with this card during that last turn, I believe, because he had the trap card engraved, which if I did swing, it just summoned out a bunch of seeds to the field, and I'd just be completely doomed. Alright, so it gives his monster a... I don't even know what that does. Makes it immune or something, I'm guessing? I don't really know. Alright, so this is my card, but thankfully he did do damage to me, which meant I could summon out my Boxing Veil. So now I can go into a rank 4, which is very good against this deck, so I can deal with that trap card. Well, deal with the trap card in graveyard. So first of all, summoning out my Sunrise, then I can draw 2 cards, discard, activate my Stratos, who now has a hero on field, so I can pop the back row. And go into Abyss Dweller to stop this trap card doing its annoying thing of summoning all the dudes to the field. But we didn't quite have enough for lethal, and this card is still blocking me off, so I have nothing to... just a zone being taken up for no reason, because it's negated. Negated and can't attack. Which means during his turn, he's now going to summon some stuff back. I can't realistically use this during his standby phase to stop him using this card, because if I do that, he would use this during my turn again and still summon out the dudes to the field. I literally need this thing on field to stop him using this trap card when I try to swing into him. So I can't even use the Dweller here. I still end up using the Dweller because he has to activate a Dark Hole, apparently. But thankfully, he then summons this thing in attack position when it's like, oh, 200 life points? Okay. Sure thing, buddy. Liquid Soldier, gonna go into my Stratos. Making out my Dark Rebellion, yoinking its attack, and giving my dude a bit of an attack boost, and there's lethal. Alright, there we go. So I'm not sure if I played that game correctly, but that's a very hard sort of matchup to navigate. That deck in general is really hard to navigate. If you're not used to playing against it, which I'm not, you don't really remember what half the card effects do. I remembered some of the effects, thankfully. Alright, Speedroid. This guy, yeah, he deserved his loss, let's just say that. This is my rank up, by the way. 8-game win streak. How was this guy was on an 8-game win streak? I don't know. Guess his deck was just... deck was too good for Platinum. Because he certainly wasn't. Alright, Blazeman searching for a Polymerization. Summoning out a copy of my Sunrise, giving me a search. Alright, getting my Miracle Fusion. Summoning my boss monster so I now have a negate on field. And now you're about to see the main reason why this card probably isn't going to be that great, at least right now. Cosmic Cyclone or MST or even Book of Moon, any sort of back row that's like spell card from hand, and your boss monster is going to be useless because we have no equip spell, he can't negate. Of course, like the skilled player he is, opens the Terratop. Summoning out his dice. Why on earth you would summon out the dice from the deck, I do not know. Since your skill gives you the dice anyway, why wouldn't you go for the other card, the level 4, that gives you the draw at least? I don't know. Yeah, this guy was not the greatest player. Alright, clearing acceleration, putting the dice on the field that he could have just grabbed straight out of the deck. Hydrate nuke in the field. Goes into a copy of his Clear Wing. By the way, he hasn't used his second part of his skill yet that puts the level 3 engrave, that brings back the tuner so he can go into the negate if in case I have some sort of particular hand trap that might deal with this. He could also go into the 4000 attack monster if he wanted to, if he had the level 7 engrave. He could have sent this thing to the grave and brought it to the field, had 4000 attack. But yeah. Instead, I think he just tries to swing into me. What a nice guy. Yeah, I need to stop talking shit about this poor dude. He didn't play that badly, it was just a little bit silly. Alright, summoning out Sunrise. Sunrise is going to be giving me a search. It is getting chain blocked, so we can't negate it, by the way. If you're wondering why I didn't negate here. Stratos making sure that back row is gone so I can continuously spam the field. Summoning out the Shining, summoning out a copy of the Fire Monster. Gonna swing into this card, popping it. Alright, popping his monster, and there's just lethal on field. I actually quite like this card, he's kinda cool. Just a little draw one. He's very underused. Alright. So that's going to do it for today's replays. Hope you guys enjoyed them. If you did, leave a like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, let me know in the comments if there's any other Fire Warrior monsters you know of that can replace that one little Noble Knight guy in my deck list that completely sucks ass. So let me know down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Laters.
Hey, big brother, can I watch SpongeBob? Shut up, Mokuba. I'm busy flagging YouTube videos to compensate for the fact that I have an extremely small penis. Oh.